You may not be. So welcome everyone. My name is Hannah, and we are starting off our 8-week course with drawing sacred geometry. This is the first class. This is the introduction and the welcome. I'm really thrilled that all of you have made it. I'm gonna lead us in a small meditation drop in a few minutes. Zabby, if you want to go ahead and mute yourself while you're working your camera out, that'd be awesome. Thanks, dear. So introductions, we're going to take a breath together. We'll do introductions. I'm going to go over the whole course. We're going to talk about everything. And before we do that, I want to invite you to turn your focus inward for a moment or two here, closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you, taking a nice deep belly breath and bringing yourself into the present moment by connecting with your body through the breath. Deep inhale through the nose and exhaling through your mouth, releasing the day, letting go, letting yourself fully arrive. Connecting with yourself, all of your parts, your mental body, your emotional body, your physical body, bringing all of the aspects of you into this moment, into this new adventure. Nice deep breaths, sinking into the surface, supporting you. Practicing the simultaneous relaxation while also expanding and opening into a new adventure. Connecting with the receptive and expansive part of you that signed up for this class. Connecting with a new source of information and a new you. Doing a little inventory. If you're carrying any stress, if you'd like to let it go, now is the choice point. It will still be available for you on the other side. And taking a small breath into your heart, maybe even a big breath into your heart, and feeling a sense of gratitude for yourself for giving you this class, for the ability to take this class, and for the ability to be on the planet in this human experience. And as you're ready, you can come back together in our shared space. Welcoming one more person. So I am thrilled that you all made it. Technical difficulties aside, this is such an exciting journey for me. Sacred geometry attracts the most fascinating, fabulous people. So I'm really excited to get to know all of you. What we're going to do today is I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to tell you how I ended up here and why I love this class. And then I'd love to do a little check-in and have you all introduce yourselves and say a little bit about why you're here or what your familiarity with sacred geometry is. Just a little intro. Then we're going to do some information. I'm going to share, we're going to launch right into a PowerPoint with sharing, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour of information, the backstory about what we're drawing, and then we'll draw. All right, so we've got a jam-packed 2 hours. I'm going to launch in by telling you a little bit about myself, but I want to make sure that we have a way of connecting via email. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, in the chat, I'm going to put my personal email, which is what you'll all be. You either get, I think you get Catherine Gruber at PCC, or you get my personal email. I'll just do double. We're just going to double up and cover all the bases. So that's flow into being is my personal email. I'm going to send you PCC what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste all of your PCC addresses. I will send you an email from the PCC address. I will send you an email from my address. I will ask that you email me back to confirm that you've gotten things, and we'll get everybody on the loop for, making sure you have communication, that you have Zoom recordings, that you have the PDFs. You do not need to retain any of this. I will send you step-by-step process of how to draw. So you can be fully in the moment. You do not have to remember, and you will have the PDFs from here on out. So we'll make sure that you can uh, do your homework. Because I really have learned to encourage everyone to do drawing between the classes. It really deepens the experience. And yet, some of us are just doing the best we can to show up. So there is no pressure. Um, if you have signed up for this class, the geometry is already working in your field. So I will explain things like that in a little bit. Yeah, so many things to cover. So that is the communication. One way or another, we'll make sure to work it out that we are all getting what we need here. And there's really no way for me to explain how transformational this class can be. I think I did 4 weeks and 4 weeks. So either way, if you're in for all 4 weeks or if you're in for all 8 weeks, um, you have signed up for some transformation, because the geometry is way more than drawing shapes. It is an expansive process. And so much to say. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I always do. Start with me. So I've been teaching this class for about 8 years now, and I never get tired of it. I love the people that are attracted to it. And before that, I was a psychotherapist on an inpatient psychiatric unit for 10 years. So I have been facilitating groups for almost 20 years, which is mind boggling to me. But I love the group process. I love learning from each other and the value of sharing all of our insights. So that's precious to me. So I will, it's important to me, just to prepare you, that we hear everybody's voice, right? So even if you don't have anything to share, I will always do an intro, a quick intro, and an exit thought or reflection, just so that we are connecting. And you can say, I don't have anything to share, but thanks. Just as long as we're connecting, because that's part of the learning experience. We're in this together. It's fascinating for me to watch the connection grow over the course of the class. So participation, please do jump in. I have been living in this world for so long that I forget. I lose perspective about, terminology or languaging that I use. So if I go too fast, please jump in and pause me. So 20 years of groups, 8 years of teaching this class. I was in the mental health world, and I was complete with it. It was, the diagnosis, all of the medication in the system is important, but I was quite complete with it. And I just took a leap of faith. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I opened up to more alignments, more wholesome, more holistic lifestyle. Can everybody see me? Is my camera okay? Am I glitchy? Looks like I'm okay. All right. Very soon thereafter, I found sacred geometry. I did what you guys are doing. I took a class, and then I also found unified physics, and I started drawing compulsively. And I'm telling you my story so that if any of it happens to you, it will be normalizing for you. You go, oh yeah, that happened to her. I'm okay. So drawing, so much so that I created an art show. I had an art installment with many pieces of art, of geometric art. And once the art was on the walls, people wanted to know about the geometry. It was so fascinating. And so I started talking about it. And then there were just so many people that wanted to learn about it that I started teaching. So I started teaching at PCC 7 or 8 years ago now. And then I just really started expanding. I found other areas of life where the geometry is, because everything has geometry. There isn't anything that doesn't contain a geometric pattern. And so here's the part where it goes really wild. But again, I tell you my story for 2 reasons. If you have a similar path, you're not alone. And I am far more out there than you could possibly So I am opening the door for you to be as far out as you want, right? I move in the realms of extraterrestrial phenomenon, off-planet civilizations, other universes, parallel realities, you name it, I will make space for you and welcome you if those are your worlds. There is anything goes here. There is not anything that is not welcome in terms of insights or connections or experiences. So, yes, the other point of my story that's progressed over the years is that the geometry will guide you. It will open you to your next steps in your evolution, in your spirit, in your soul, and all of this. And so many times I had no idea of what was next, but I was receptive, I was open. And as you as you entrain your system to these harmonic shapes, you will become more harmonious yourself. You will become more aligned as the geometries are. And in that alignment, you have the potential to hear your guidance more clearly. And so the invitations of the next steps for you will come from your own guidance because you are aligning more on top of what you are, currently, how you're currently moving in the world. Oh, it's a little bit all over the place, and yet we're right on target. So my trajectory has been a fun and fabulous one, and that's why I do the classes. I love to support expansion and creativity and the learning process. And with that, I would love to hear your voices and hear your name and a little bit about why you signed up, or if you're familiar with sacred geometry, or anything that's up for you about this class. And who would like to start us off? No pressure. Ben has a super grumpy face. Yeah, Joni. Hi. You are muted though. We got some talks going on. Hi there.
Hi, I'll take my hand back down now too. So I'll just break the ice. I was just looking for anything different than my routine in the classes. And it's been a long time since I've been enrolled at PCC. So I just needed to break my routine. I have a creative background, but my work and all that is very stifling and I feel very blocked. So I thought a combination of kind of the left, right brain would it be help to unblock me. And so looking interesting, I do love drawing mandalas. So I feel there's some different, some parallels there. And I'm just hoping that this is a gateway to me opening back up my my boxes of materials. I did very much enjoy finding all of my stuff. I had to go buy nothing except for a new compass. And the smell of all of my art supplies was very stimulating. So I enjoyed that very much. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. My lighting is so weird here. I'm so glad you've dusted everything off. My hope and my belief is that the geometry will provide you with exactly what you are looking for. That right brain, left brain alignment, absolutely.
And I've been exploring mindfulness, trying to survive my work life too. So I feel that this is right along those paths.
Yes, yes. So much of the geometry can be incorporated into meditation, right? And we kind of touch on those things. We kind of touch on the breath work, but the potential to do more is vast. So glad for your willingness to leap into the new.
And one final note, I will go on and off camera. I find myself spending too much time thinking about what I look like on camera. So I'm happy to come back on as needed, just so, we can connect. But when I'm just sitting here, I will probably have it off.
Okay. Really quick, I have one thing for you. If you would like, you can go up to the top right of your screen and you scroll over and it says view and there's a little grid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you open that up, it says hide self view. You don't have to look at yourself. You see everybody else. Just if you didn't know that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So who would like to go next?
I can go.
Oh, okay.
Hi there.
Hey, hello everyone. I'm Leanne and I'm excited to be back. I've taken this class probably more times than I really want to admit, but I'm here to rebalance. I'm here to draw with some new friends. I'm here to hang out with Nadia and hear what she is doing now and new things that she'll share with me. And I'm super excited.
Hey, Leanne.
Yeah, we got Debbie and Leanne from the previous class. Leanne, I was so excited. You got my email when I was just like,
Yes.
right when I saw your name. I have learned for all of you, I have learned so much from Leanne. That's what I mean when I talk about the group process. I just have felt so inspired by your dedication and devotion for these various times. So I am thrilled with you and everything that you bring, and it's lovely to see you again. I don't always get to see everybody again, so it's lovely. All right, I'm saying the same thing twice. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm happy to be here too.
Okay, good. All right. Who would like to jump in next?
Yeah. I have a friend from high school who has been doing sacred geometry. In fact, she has a show right now in Philadelphia. And I really liked what she was doing. She also does iconography, which is pretty fabulous. And I thought, yeah, I would like to know about this. So that's it.
Awesome. Have you drawn before? Or do you
No. I used to be involved in graphic design, but I retired years ago. So it's been a while since I've done anything. So.
All right. Awesome. Susan, I'm so glad you're here. And
should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And my favorites, there's no favorites, but like I really love it when people just sign on, they have no idea, right? It's like, I don't know.
I can see what she's done, and she's done some of her work in ceramics as well. And so if you want to look her up, she's Mary Gamble Barrett, and you can see her online. She has a show in Philadelphia right now.
Okay.
And she does lovely stuff. So
inspiring. Awesome.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Glad you're here. All right, who's going next? All right, hi Joy.
I'm Joy. I also am a psychotherapist, so that's kind of interesting. And I had no idea this was going to be as expansive as you're talking about. So that's cool. I love that idea. How did I get in here? I wanted a new set of cards, and I tried the Sacred Geometry. It's called Oracle deck by, well, here it is.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know her. Who's the artist?
Francine Hart.
Francine Hart. I love her artwork. Yep, she's great. Nicely done.
Well, I got it and I have no idea what to do with it, and I couldn't make any sense out of it. And so then I happened to see this course, and the other thing I love, as Joni said, mandalas.
Mm-hmm.
Also love geometric shapes more than realistic things or whatever. So, and I'm always playing with something art-wise, but it never goes anywhere, but it's fun to do. So good to be here.
Oh, so glad to have you here. I think it goes everywhere, but yeah, it's wonderful. I know you think you're taking a drawing class, and all of a sudden you're expanding into new levels of consciousness. It's very sneaky. It's very subversive. And I'll talk more about that. So it's great to have you here. And maybe we'll know what to do with the Oracle deck by the end. So, all right, great. I have a few more folks. Carol, hi.
Hi. So I circled a bunch of things in the PCC catalog when it came in the mail, and the class I had initially wanted to take, which was drawing for beginners, because I'm sort of drawing phobic. I do art, I make constructions, mostly with paper. But I waited too long because I was waiting on something else, and it was sold out. And then the next one down the line was sold. This sounds not very complimentary, but believe me, when I realized yours still had room, I was very excited. Admittedly, more on the geometry part than the sacred part, but I do have a sense of the sacred. I would have taken it if it just said geometry.
Mhm.
But this, it sounds very appealing, and the drawing part does intimidate me, but you know, I'll get over it, I'm sure.
Hopefully I will help in a reparative process, because most of us either have drawing trauma or geometry trauma, and it's so tricky to you've got to call it sacred geometry because that's what it is, but we've got programs around sacred and geometry, and I can't get away from that. And I find it hysterical that this class ends up in the home and garden segment of the catalog, because they didn't know what to do with sacred and geometry either. Like, is it an art class? Is it metaphysical? So nobody knows what to do with it. I believe it's magic and beauty that you've shown up, that all of you have, however it is that you found the class. So Carol, I'm so glad you're here. And
I had one.
Really quick,
Oh,
I don't think
that's okay, it can wait.
Compass. We don't have Compass experience, so we're starting from scratch with everybody. So we'll walk slowly through that. Hopefully that helps with the nervousness. Yeah. Did you have another thing to add?
Okay.
I was just going to add that some of what I've been trying to do some origami lately, and things like, how do you turn a square into a hexagon? How do you, divide this shape into 5 parts? So I don't know if that's going to get covered at all, but just that I'm very interested in that, knowing, having that brain.
Yeah, that sounds really hard. We're going to do really simple stuff. So you'll have some more information, and then you can go wherever you want to go from there. But no, we're not dividing big things. We're going to go nice and sweet and gentle. So great. Okay. Janice, you jumped in, I think.
Yeah. I'm Janice. I thought this class sounded really interesting. I really know nothing about sacred geometry. I took a mindful meditation class last term and really enjoyed it. And I like to doodle. So I thought, here I am. Thought I'd try it and see what happens.
Wonderful. So glad you're here. All right. I love the adventuring spirits. Yeah. Okay. Greta.
I'm Greta. I do some watercolor and some lettering. I'm retired. I was excited about this class and still am. I did a sacred geometry class for a couple of days at a place off of Alberta a few years ago that was, a couple days, and I think maybe even a couple weekends, and really liked it. And so I'm kind of looking forward to getting, back into it again.
Excellent. I lived in Portland for 6 years, and 3 years ago I moved down to Sedona, and I miss it. And so thinking about Alberta Street is really delightful. Yeah. And hopefully we can give you some familiar and some new experiences. That's great to hear you did that. Did you draw, or was it a learning?
No, we drew, and the different shapes, were explained, and it was kind of, the metaphysical kind of thing. So it was kind of both, and it was really, it was very relaxing.
Well, wonderful. That's what we're going for here too.
Yeah, it was good.
Alberta Street. Just as a side note, I am up visiting my parents in Seattle right now. This is not my usual backdrop. This is not my usual lighting. It will be a lot better next week. And I haven't seen rain like this in years. The Northwest, I really miss it. Sedona is red rocks, dry and high, and I love it, but it's so good to be in the green again. So y'all will help me reconnect with my Pacific Northwest roots. All right, we've got Julie and Ben, and all right, Julie's going for it.
Hi, so it's July, actually.
I had 50-50 chance. Hi there.
Good, hi. So, yeah, I'm very interested in this class. So I've taken art classes forever, and I've made a lot of art, and I also do fashion design type of work. So I work with patterns a lot and shapes. So I don't know, I just thought this would be, and I'm also very interested in esoteric studies, spirituality, all that sort of, that whole realm. So I just thought it'd be very interesting to get a new perspective on art, and to be really thinking about shapes in a more meaningful kind of way, you know, like thinking of shapes as the fabric of reality. So I think that'll be very cool. And I also want to make art involving spirals. I've just been having these visuals of spirals, so I'd love to learn about the golden ratio and all of that. So
All right. Well, today is your day. So wonderful that you're here. I'm going to restrain my excitement about the phi ratio and what we're getting into. So yes to all of it. Welcome. All right, Zabby and Ben and company. Ben, looks like you're off mute. You want to say hi?
I am. Hello, Ben. Like so I heard somebody else say, I got the PCC catalog and I went through circling things, and this was one of the ones that I was excited to do. I haven't taken a class in a couple of decades, and this was, I figured, a good starting point. I've enjoyed drawing mandalas and similar art for a long time, but it's just been little YouTube videos here and there, and I want to get a little bit more serious about it. And I have no childcare this evening, so it's me and the squad.
Yay! Hi. Do we have squad names? Who is everybody?
You want to say your name?
I'm Ruby. That's Craig. And then we have Max right there.
Okay. Craig and Max and Ben. No,
and
sorry.
Ruby.
Whoa, where did Craig? Ben and Ruby. All right, we got it. Hi, everyone. Glad you're here. And that's what I've got to say. I'm excited to have you here, and I appreciate you hanging in there even without the kiddo care. So again, it'll be recorded if it's too hard to draw and get into it. All right, last but not least, unless I'm forgetting somebody, I think we've got everybody. There she is. Hello.
Wait, this side. Hey, I'm Zabeth. I'm here for my second year of sacred geometry. I'm really eager to draw again. I feel like I came up with a lot of cool stuff this year. I just really didn't finish a lot of my projects, and I'm really looking forward to going back through my sketchbook from last year, which it's already begun. So it's nice to be here with all of you. I wish my camera worked.
So interesting. It's just off out. Zabby, you're reminding me to invite everyone to do what feels best for yourself, right? I'm certainly going to have some information and we'll have some practices to do together. But you give yourself, what's that?
Yay. I'm so excited to be here just with all of you. There's some faces from last year, and Nadi, you look exactly the same. It's just great to be here. Same with you, Leanne. You guys look exactly the same. It's just cool, very familiar.
Yeah, familiar faces. Yeah. You look different though. Definitely.
I know.
Yeah, it's great.
Come
on. Yeah.
I'm in a different house. Oh, well, actually, I think I'm in the same house as the end of last class, but it's fine. We're working through it. Yes. Swimming through the water.
Aren't we all? So you're reminding me, and I want to invite you as well, like you've given yourself this time. So if you want to just go off in some sort of creative process, sky's the limit. So the invitation will always be for the geometry that we're doing, but we got all sorts of levels of profession in here. So Zabby, it's so great to see you, and all I hope is to be able to see the incredible art that you are creating.
Yes, we got half the screen.
Awesome. The artwork that everyone comes up with in these classes is so beautiful. So I will continue to encourage us all to draw in between classes despite our busy lives. So I thought I had my computer plugged in. Like I said, this is a makeshift situation, so I'm doing the best I can. I think I have to do this. Let's get into the information. Does anybody have any questions before we jump in? Everybody feeling ready? Thumbs up. Okay, great. Here we go. We're going to go into screen share, and I'm going to give you my email. And then we're going to do this and slideshow. And there it is. Here we go. So I can only see a few of you in the in the gallery view that I have. So if you have a question, you need to jump in with your voice versus raising your hand. So we're going to be talking in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, right? Looking at the world beyond the materially evident surface level. And we're going to be going into the invisible realms, right? Sacred geometry is part of what makes it sacred, is it bridges worlds. We're going to be going from the invisible worlds into from the visible worlds into the invisible worlds. It brings shape and form into frequency, energy, and vibration, because vibration can be described as frequency, and then frequency can be expressed as numbers, and then numbers can be perceived and organized as patterns, right? So that's the geometry. It brings the metaphysics and the physics together, right? It's unifying. It's part of the sacred piece. And I will continue to break down what makes it sacred so that we have that information, so we can go and tell our friends and people that how cool sacred geometry is and why it's sacred. Here is Patch. This is a minute-long video that I want to share with you, just to affirm that you all are geniuses in choosing to take this class, even if it was the last one left. So here is the tiniest overview, 1 minute. Patch is a character from a YouTube channel called Spirit Science. It's a wonderful resource, and it's 12-minute videos, 15-minute videos about very esoteric subjects, the Akashic records, chakras, electromagnetic fields, crystals, everything. And for sacred geometry, it's a great resource. So this is 1 minute long. Here we go.
Everything in the universe is geometric, whether it's people, trees, cats, planets, solar systems, stars, you name it. Anything in the universe can be measured on a geometric scale.
Y'all can hear it.
Having
right?
said that, it's important to note that creation is also geometric. What we're going to be looking at today is the pattern of creation. Essentially, what this means is that everything in the universe comes out of this single pattern. I'm not making this up. This single image will change everything. When I mentioned in lesson 5 that the ancient Egyptians and even more ancient civilizations knew about a deeper, basic understanding of the universe, this is the flower of life. And it is also the creation pattern of everything in existence. Even non-tangible things, emotions, thoughts, music in its entire spectrum, everything comes from this image. Okay, so there are 13 information systems that comes out of the flower of life. Today, I'm going to show you how physical reality can manifest itself, which is just one of the 13 systems. In future lessons, we will look at more. It's also important to note that at first it may not make sense. I ask that you do not choose immediately to shut this out, and just watch with an open mind, and try and see this in a new way. Also, I want to tell you that by learning about sacred geometry simply by observing, you are absorbing only a very minuscule amount of information. If you really want to learn more, you must begin to draw it yourself. I kid you not, when you do this, you begin to see things in a new way. You begin to understand why things are done in the way that they are done. Promise.
Promise. So the drawing of it really embodies the change. It brings your geometry alive. You're going to see in a second, we are the geometry. And with that interface, with that energetic exchange of drawing, you are activating yourself in new ways. I will continue to explain this process, but here we go. We are going to be looking at things that you know. Some of this will be new. Most of it is familiar in a subconscious way, right? I've totally reiterated the fact that this can blow your mind and be very excited, but I love that meme. So the shapes, we all know these shapes. We know these patterns. They live in our subconscious mind. And so much of our reality is governed by our subconscious programming, right? So we take for granted all of these patterns, all of these parallels that we see between, the trees and our lungs and the veins and our connectedness. Part of studying geometry, since everything has a pattern, is studying unity consciousness, right? If we're looking at the patterns in everything, we're breaking down everything to its geometric structure, then the illusion of separation becomes apparent, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of shapes. I'm going to remind you of a couple of shapes that you know. The first one being the phi spiral, right? I'll go back to the nautilus shell really quick. This beautiful infinitely self-repeating pattern, the golden ratio, the golden spiral. There's the phi ratio, there's the Fibonacci sequence. There is so much contained in this shape. And I have only recently, after 8 years of studying this, begun to really get into the phi. And, you know, hopefully my part of my goal is that you begin to see the geometry everywhere. You begin to recognize how pervasive it is and how connecting it is, right? Because it's woven into the fabric of reality in small ways, in planetary ways, right? We all know the spiral of hurricanes and galaxies, right? This is on a cosmological scale, and it's on a tiny, tiny scale, and it's also on a molecular atomic level, right? This spiral is our DNA, right? So we can see it outside in the universe, but then it's also within us, right? This is part of what makes it sacred, is that it is our divine blueprint. It is the structure of our physical form. And so when we see something, when we see nature and we see the phi spiral pattern, it resonates with the phi spiral pattern within us. And that spiral has a mathematic equation. It has a partner structure, right? It's this beautiful spiral flowing shape that is also supported and contained by a linear structure and mathematic equation. And that mathematic equation is called the Fibonacci sequence. And I was never math oriented. I am on the metaphysical side of things. And I have found, you could say I found God, quote unquote, through math, right? Or I found math through God. Either way, I never used to enjoy math, but you will see this sequence is so extraordinary that it hints and screams at a larger divine order, a divine intelligence. The sequence, plain and simple, is adding or subtracting two integers to get the third, right? So we're going to be adding, but you can see 1 and 2 is 3, 3 and 2 is 5, 3 and 5 is 8, 5 and 8 is 13, on and on. Part of the beauty of this shape is the harmonic relationship to itself. It's the only shape where you do not have to add an integer. It just takes the two integers. It's either adding on itself or subtracting on itself, and it creates a harmony and a balance and a proportion that generates balance, right? It's so perfect. All right, I'll stop waxing poetic. So we are, right? Our DNA is that spiral, but we are that ratio, right? Tip to first knuckle is 2, tip to the second knuckle is 2 plus 3. And then as you extend down the fingers and down the hands, 3 plus 5, this whole segment is 8. And our entire body is built of that ratio. All of our physical form has that pattern built into it in one way or another. It's this organic pattern. If you play with the idea of our brains as directly related to this beautiful spiral, the curvature, it takes you up and around, and the culmination brings you into the pineal gland, right? Which is the seat of the soul, the sacred, a profound parallel with this geometry and our structure is basically the take home on that. But it's everywhere. It's pervasive, and that unity, that unifying geometry is part of what speaks to our subconscious mind. I'll get into that more in a second. Here's a really fascinating slide. I love this slide. So you can read the Fibonacci sequence from left to right, right? 1 and 1 is 2, 1 and 2 is 3, on and on. This is going to go on to infinity, this addition equation. The fun thing is you can also add this equation down on the far right corner. So 2 and 3 is 5, 3 and 5 is 8, 5 and 8 is 13. So you can read it left from right, but you can also read that final column down, adding on itself. But then look at the first column. It does it as well, right? 1 and 1 is 2, 1 and 2 is 3, and 3 and 5 is 8. So you've got left to right, you've got the far right column that you can add it. You've got the left first column that you can add it, But then look at the middle column. You can also add this equation going down the middle column. This is left to right. This is top to bottom. This to me is God. This suggests such a divine orchestration. This is not like tiny little human brains couldn't come up with that. There is such a beautiful universal intelligence, right? And that's when I say that it took me off planet, right? Because it opens you up to this larger cosmological, this big picture of where did this stuff come from? It's everywhere. Who gave it to us? We didn't do this. So that equation of the phi ratio is just it's divine proportion for me. So
Nadi,
yes.
Could you write the word Fibonacci?
Yes.
And also the adjective that before the spiral. I can't quite make out the words.
I got that. I meant to go in the chat. Okay, Fibonacci.
Thanks.
Fibonacci right there in the chat.
Thank you.
Yep, Fibonacci. So Fibonacci. It's an Italian. He was an Italian man. What was the second thing? The
something spiral.
Oh, there's the phi, which is PHI, the phi spiral. It's known with a bunch of names. It's called the phi spiral. It's called the golden ratio. It's called the golden spiral. Gold being the highest harmonic that we have. So it's this perfection with lots of different names. The Fibonacci is the math part. The spiral is the phi spiral. So
wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you for jumping in. So finding divinity in number sequences, right? The farther you go into the world of sacred geometry, the more curious it gets and the more there is. It's very much a rabbit hole, and I'm going to guide you through some of the basics and hopefully give you some ideas as to where to continue to look for more. But for me, I have come to appreciate the divine in the numbers, because the number sequences in this world are fascinating. They are completely, they will change your perception the more you contemplate the invisible patterning and the numerology of it, right? That's part of what's happening with the geometry. So we've got the phi spiral, we've got that pattern, our DNA, and that infinitely repeating pattern. And then we've got the Fibonacci sequence, which is the geometry, the mathematic equation of this shape. But then we've also got this proportion, right? So you have this segment of B, right? This is one proportion. This is segment 1, right? So you've got this relationship of segment B to segment A, right? The relationship is not 1 to 2, right? It's not one segment to an equal double 2. The segment is B is 1 and A is 1.618, right? So it's not 2. This isn't a ratio of 1 to 2. That wouldn't repeat infinitely. This is a ratio of 1 to 1.618, right? So this is the third aspect of the geometry that is significant because it's us as well, right? Our entire body is made up of this ratio. In the tip to the hand is 1, and then the tip of the fingers to the elbow is 1 to 1.618, right? So this will make sense. Just bear with it. Again, just like Patch said, just bear with it. It's all going to start to make sense. This is only the first class. We're only in the first 45 minutes. So if it's a little scrambly, don't worry, you've got the recording, and I will keep saying the same thing again and again. But the ratio, tip to wrist is 1, tip to elbow is 1.618. Tip to the finger to the elbow is 1. Tip to the finger across to the shoulder is 1.618. Head to the sternum is 1. Head down to your feet is 1.618. Our entire body has this ratio. It is a harmonic, sacred, universal proportion that is in our body. It's in our DNA, literally the shape, in the programming. It's everywhere, which is part of the sacred piece, right? It's universal. And our entire form, it's the blueprint for our physical form. It's the blueprint for reality. All right, onward. There's so much to cover. So you find it in the natural world and you find it in the man-made world. right? Art, architecture, physics, astronomy, astrology, biology, molecular biology. Every single facet of our culture and society has this ratio woven into it. It is a shape that people study, right? It's in the academic training. It's in the what am I trying to say? Studying this geometry is fundamental to all of these aspects of our reality, right? We build by it. We create art, we create music, we build structures according to that ratio. It's everywhere. And yet this is not something we consciously recognize. You're not going to look at the Eiffel Tower and say, oh, that's made in a harmonic proportion. We're just attracted to it. It's enduring, it's iconic because it's speaking to us on these subtle realms, these unconscious realms, the realms that we take for granted and move with all the time. This geometry that is us, it's part of our psyche. So music is in its entire scale, like everything that you could possibly study has geometry in it. And so that's part of the universality, as we keep coming back to how pervasive it is. And part of why, let me just come back here. Part of why studying geometry is important is because it is so powerful that it has been used to influence us in every single way. And so part of what you can start to do is when you call it into your conscious awareness, you regain power. You start to say, oh, I see how you are manipulating me to either buy your product or hang out on your social media platform. It's a reclaiming, right? Because this terrible statistic just troubles me so much. Our waking reality, our conscious mind is responsible for 10%, like understanding 10% of our waking reality, right? It's governed by our conscious mind. 10%. 90% of our waking reality is governed by our subconscious programming. That is a very, very disturbing statistic. So sacred geometry speaks in archetype, it speaks in patterning, and that's where the subconscious mind understands things. So we on this class right now, we think we're going to be drawing some shapes. That's 10% of our mind. We're like, oh yeah, this will be fun. Your subconscious mind is so excited because we're going to be drawing shapes that connect. They connect our conscious with our subconscious mind. It is an empowering process. You are bringing online parts of you that have been dormant, and you're speaking to it through the geometry. And it's that powerful, and that power has been used subliminally for our, for the gain of certain powers, so to speak, certain what's the word? I don't ever really go into the negative, nefarious reasons for manipulating humanity, but there are a few that profit from the manipulation of many. And you can see that everywhere. You can see the use of geometry to influence a collective, right? You put one image out, it's going to reach a lot of different people, and it's used very successfully, right? When you look into power structures, you will always find the use of geometry and patterns, right? Whether it's obvious or covert. So this is the phi spiral. We've talked about that, right? That shape. That is one of 3 shapes I'm just going to highlight today. We are going to look at so many in the course, but this first intro class is to get you thinking again about how pervasive geometry is, right? This is one of 2 slides where I say there's so much math in here, right? This is as mathy as we're going to get. Usually I'm blessed if I have an engineer or a mathematician in the group, but I don't think we have one of those. But I am always remiss in my my neglect of the mathematics. But suffice it to say, it's infinitely fascinating if you are oriented towards the left brain equation and linear proportions. It's fascinating to left and right brain oriented folks. So we're going to go into the pentagram and the pentagon and the phi ratio. That spiral has a direct relationship with the pentagon and the pentagram, the 5-sided shape. Down here, you can see this is 1 segment, right? If we're looking at this whole line on the pentagram, down here is 1 segment, and then the pink one is 1.618, right? So all of the segments of the geometries are related to this ratio. They are interconnected, they are interdependent, and studying one opens the doors to studying the many. This is the second very mathy slide to just highlight the angles, the relationship of the inner angles, the outer planes, the outer faces of the shape. And that's a whole other class. We're going to get into drawing, so we can't do the math. But the phi and the pentagon and the 5-sided geometries, again, just beginning to notice in the natural world how they are everywhere. We're going into fall, so you can look at the leaves, but so many flowers, so many fundamental structures have this pattern. And by bringing your attention to both the man-made and natural worlds, you're going to call this consciousness, you're going to call into your awareness a universal consciousness, right? So it's been used to craft humankind and to point our collective psyche in various directions. So the reclaiming is very important, and you can't reclaim until you start to remember. Okay? So I won't harp on that fact too much, but we have seen humanity go from originally a matriarchal society, right? We've seen an entire shift from the divine feminine long ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, I'm talking about. The circle being, the fundamental shape of universal consciousness, right? And bringing together 2 circles and creating this third form. This is called the Vesica Pisces. This third portal of infinite potential was considered a divine feminine shape, right? This birthing portal. But this shape was then used to shift our consciousness to a patriarchy, right? Using the geometry underneath. This is just one slide of thousands and thousands of examples of how the subliminal messaging has influenced us, right? And I think I've hit home on this. I think we've got this, I've covered this, but just as you go out into the world between classes, just start to call it up, just start to notice everywhere that it's used, right? And that can be a really powerful practice. We've got the 2 circles. We've got that intersection called the Vesica Pisces. You do not need to remember any of this. I'm simply naming the different shapes. The top, you can see the relationship with the 2 circles and creating the pentagon. And then on the bottom, the third shape we're going to look at being the hexagon, the 6-sided shape, right? Again, just noticing how it's pervasive, how it is everywhere. It is a fundamental structure for our reality, right? This is an intelligent design in that it is the most efficient way to pack information, right? There will be no space, there will be no space, I guess just seems like a really simplistic way to say it, but it's perfectly packed in that nothing escapes compartmentalization, right? It can contain vast amounts of intelligence and in a very efficient manner, right? And someone once said, well, why isn't if you stack squares, you don't lose any space in between them, right? It's the same thing. But it's not. If you bend the hexagons into a sphere, they will still pack, right? As will a pentagon, but very differently. There's a network of hexagonal patterning that can come together, unlike any other of the shapes, right? So you'll see that again and again here. But, science, NASA, the telescope, mimicking the intelligence of nature. And if anyone's familiar with Masaru Emoto's work several years ago, he did experiments to measure the influence of our vibration, the vibration of different words and how it influenced the structure of the water molecules, right? And to basically quantify vibration in a way that we could understand. So this beautiful hexagonal six-sided pattern is the manifestation of a water molecule after being praised and loved, and very high frequencies being infused into it. And he did all sorts of studies, on that level, but then also would basically speak very negatively, send negative vibrations to the water, and the molecular structure got completely distorted and broke down. So measuring again the invisible to the visible, where you can see the invisible influence of frequency on the visible geometric structure, right? It's a way that we can make measurable it's quantifying. It's a way to quantify what we didn't really know how to do before. It's represented in the geometry. So on planet, off planet, the geometry is everywhere. And I think I don't know if I mentioned specifically earlier, but part of what took me into the really fringy realms was finding the geometry off planet, and then also in what are known as crop circles, where all of these shapes are six-sided geometries, right? And these are part of the messages that are encoded into the fields for humanity, giving us some information if we could only pay attention. But just noticing when and where the geometry comes up. And this takes us into sacred geometry, the hexagon, the six-sided geometry. This is the seed of life. It has perfect symmetry in that it's the six sides, it's the three and the three, it's balanced. And the seed of life is literally the geometry of the entire universe. You can get every single structure, every geometric structure of the fabric of reality out of the seed of life, which doesn't seem possible, but it is. And you'll see again and again. It expands into the flower of life. It is an infinitely repeating pattern. And the other part of what makes it sacred is that it's everywhere in sacred sites. It is always associated with high levels, like I want to say intelligence, right? The Forbidden City being part of the imperial palace, where all of the very essential elements of the civilization of the Chinese culture were kept. The Fu dogs guard the Forbidden City, right? There's one on either side, and the one of the Fu dogs always has a three-dimensional flower of life underneath it, right? So there's an interesting association, like fascinating to find that flower of life not only in the 2D but the 3D version in association with temples, sacred sites, all over the world. Many, if not most, traditions have, you will find the geometry somewhere, right? Especially in Egypt and different temples. But it's also, again, back to religion, you will have geometry woven in. You have the Star of David, you have this star tetrahedron, so many, in so many cultures and religions, and iconic imagery, right? So it's sacred in that it's universally revered. It is sacred because it is the natural world, it is the man-made world, and skip that slide. And it's sacred because it's us, right? You've got that phi ratio that is our DNA, but then as we get into the seed of life, it mirrors exactly the cell bifurcation after moments of conception, right? So we're going to draw a single circle, we're going to divide it in two, we're going to divide it in four. It'll become the seed of life that's in 3D. It's 8 spheres, and then that multiplies into 64, and then it cytoblasts off to be a human. But the seed of life is going to mirror like the first moments of our human reality. Right? Does that? Hopefully that gives a general nutshell of the sacred elements of it, some of the geometry, some of the sacred elements. Obviously there's so much to it. It's hard to, this 8-week class has turned into a 10-week class for me, because there's more and more information every time. We're going to get into drawing, but does anybody have any thoughts or reflections or questions about that little overview before we do? It's a lot to digest. Good. All right. It'll keep making sense. You know, just keep reading through it. Let's take a nice deep breath and transition into drawing. Let me see. All right, here we go. We're going to shift out of the mind. Let's deep breath together. Okay. You're not going to retain any of it. Don't worry about it. You've gotten a transmission. We've gotten the general idea. And as we keep repeating it, it'll get clearer and clearer, and you'll keep exactly what you need to keep, and the rest will go away. So one glitch that I have is that I did not bring my compass up to visit my parents. So I will be demonstrating with my fingers, but let's go ahead and get out all of our materials, right? If you don't have them out already. Joni's, I think, was it Joy or Joni? Let's see. Joni was saying she was compelled to get her calculator out, right? Like, that's hopefully the idea, is that we're getting inspired. Okay, so all the materials we've got, hopefully most of us have them. Did everybody get 11 by 14 pad of paper? Does everybody have that one? Anybody? Okay. The reason that matters is because that's as big as we can get with the geometries. All the sequences are designed with those proportions. So let me know if you didn't get that, and we will work that out. Okay, compass. Can everybody hold up the compass that you got so that I can see? All right, Leanne's got the hardcore. Okay, great. All right, Carol's got the old school. Awesome. So we've got them. And Greta, great. Okay. Joni. All right, excellent. I sent the email. There's no wrong way to get a compass. Just don't ever get a plastic one. It's ridiculous. So everybody's on board. Who's worked with a compass before? Okay, a little bit. Okay. So forgive me for not having my compass. Let's see, we got that. Okay. Couple basic tricks to using the compass, right? So you want the points and the pencil to be level. I'm going to start with that. We're going to start with a width of like an inch or more, right? You don't want to start small. It's very, it makes it harder to learn. So open it to about an inch, a little bit more, no precise measurements whatsoever. So you're going to, I've never done this one before. So you're going to anchor your compass, right? You're going to anchor the point nice and firmly in there. And then you're going to tilt your compass away from you, and then you're going to drag it, right? So that the technique piece is to tilt it away from you, because then you are releasing the tension, and you will train yourself to simply have the pencil kind of come following the wrist motion, right? The other piece is you want to, as best as humanly possible, as most as possible, oh my God, as much as possible, train yourself to hold the compass by the tip. Great to see you, Carol. We'll see you next week. Hold the compass by the tip, right? Because if you're gripping it anywhere below the tip, the possibility to pinch the compass shut and change the width of the circle is very likely. All right, so training yourself to hold the tip of the compass, tilt it away from you, and then just letting the pencil drag behind you. It will take a minute to figure out that rotating part of the wrist. You get to a certain place on the compass, and then you've got to pivot your wrist and continue. That will take some practice. If you are feeling like that's too much right now, you can anchor your compass, tilt it away from you, and turn the paper underneath you, right? That will get you a distinct, perfect circle every time. So you can start with that practice of turning the paper. There is such a benefit in learning together, but there's also the pressure of drawing with other people, of thinking that you're not getting it, or you you're having to force faster than you would like to, just know that you will have the opportunity to go back and practice at your own pace. So if the simpler version of turning the paper underneath you works for tonight before you have some practice, be easy with yourself and give that a try, right? So the first few moments of using a compass, if it's a little janky, it's just keep breathing into the process. This is part of what I mean when I say the transformational process of drawing, right? We're all making a circle, we're all doing the same thing, and just keep giving it some practice, right? Keep making circles, getting the feel for the compass. But your process is already being reflected back to you. I guarantee you, everyone here is having some type of internal assessments of their progress, right? Either you think you're doing it well, or you think you're not doing enough, or you're on board, or you're freaked out. We're already in the learning in terms of witnessing our process. So that is part of the power of drawing geometry. So cultivating that witness, noticing your process, and being kind. We're just going to have the shared intention of kindness with our process. We can go and analyze ourselves all we want on our own time, but have a sense of compassion with yourself. You're doing a great job. You're trying a new thing. So if it's a little wonky at first, taking a nice deep breath, sticking with it. The easier approach right now being spinning the paper. And then if you want to keep trying with the spinning of the wrist, right? It's just going to take practice. And fortunately, we've got a couple weeks. How's it feeling for everybody? Is it coming along? The thumbs up is a good way to, great, thumbs up. Okay, it's coming along. I love teaching in person. I have an in-person class that just started this week in Sedona because I can go around and see how everybody's doing. And on the Zoom classes, all I have is heads are down or heads are up. so bear with me. I will usually ask for a thumbs up so that I'm not going too fast. But if I'm going too fast, please, please, please stop me, slow me down, and so that we're all together on the same page. Does everybody have a basic sense of a success with a circle? We've got some, okay, most of them are getting a circle. Okay. Like I said, having them wider makes it easier. But however it is right now, it's going to improve. It's going to get better and better with practice. Zabby, did you come off mute for something specific, or are you?
No.
Accidental? Okay, great. So
I was jumping ahead, and so I'll ask you in a minute when we get there.
Okay. All right. So do we feel ready to get into drawing the seed? Everybody feel up for drawing the first shape? Susan, is that a yeah or a question? Thumbs up. Okay, great. It looks like everybody's got some ease with the compass so far. Ease enough for the first time. Okay. Great. So we're going to start with a fresh piece of paper. All right. And you want to measure. Sorry, I don't have this one to demonstrate either. We're going to measure on the vertical axis, right? The horizontal being the long size of the paper, vertical up and down. I don't want to assume what people know and what they don't know. Measuring on the vertical axis, on the straight up and down, find the 5.5 mark in the middle of the page, right? You can kind of center it. You can eyeball the right to the left. We're not at risk for going off the paper right or to the left. We're going to push it to the max on the top and the bottom. So find, we have an 11, find the 5.5 mark in the center and give yourself a nice noticeable dot, right? It's a visible dot. You don't want to just pinpoint because we're going to come back to that center point. All right. So got the center of your page demarcated strongly.
Wait, did you say vertical or horizontal 5.5?
Vertical 5.5.
Okay.
Right. Horizontal is going to be 7 because vertical is the 11, 14 is the.
Oh, like if we're holding the sketchbook this way, wide way?
Landscape way. Yes. Landscape. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Thank you for clarifying that. Exactly.
I had no idea.
Landscape. I might not have said it. Landscape. We're gonna start with landscape orientation most of the time. All right, so everybody's got the center of their page, 5.5. You want to open your compass to a width of 2.5 inches, right? So this is our first radius, 2.5 inches. The only reason we are doing that measurement is because it's the largest we can do and still say on the page. The only reason. You can choose any measurements you want most of the time, but this will give us the biggest shape that we can have. So got 2.5 inches wide on your compass. It's our radius. That's going to give us a 5-inch wide circle. Start with your compass point at the center of the page and give yourself the first circle. And I'm going to open up to showing you the next drawing place. Okay. So I want to have a different one. So we've got that first circle, and now what we're going to do, bear with me, I'm going to find a difference. I have the best seed for you. Okay. So my image is, you're going to see it go across the top and then on the bottom, but you're working in the center of the page for sure. So we've got our first circle, center point up there. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to put your compass point at the bottom vertical, right where that little red dot is. It does not have to be precise. It's just at the bottom of the circle. You want to put your compass there and create the second circle. Okay. So your compass point is going to go right at that red dot, the bottom of the circle, on the circle, and you're going to create your second circle. That. So the geometry is always showing us where to go. So these two circles, it's given us that Vesica Pisces, that intermediate, the shape in the middle. And you've got these two intersections, right? You've got an intersection on the right and one on the left. So we're going to choose the intersection on the left of this shape, right? Left side where the red dot is, and make your third circle. Your compass will always be going at an intersection that you've just created. Right? So compass point goes there. You've got the third circle, right, which looks like this basically. Okay. Compass width is going to stay the same. All right. And now up here, you've just created another intersection that's kind of at the top, right? So down, oops, sorry, up here, where the red dot is right now, that's the intersection you just created, and your compass point is going to go there, and you're going to make another circle. We're basically just we're creating intersection points with each circle, and that's showing us where the compass goes. All right, how are we going so far? We got everybody? All right. Janice, how you doing? You're muted, but you have a look like I've gone somewhere that's not.
I'm struggling, but I'll get it.
Well, no, let me know which parts, where are you at?
I think I got confused.
Uh-huh.
You said 2.5, right? Because my circles are really big.
Yeah. Yep. 2.5. You want your compass to be open 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Your circles are going to be big. We're going to fill up the page. You got it.
Okay.
Great. Did you get the 3 circles or the 4? Where are you at with the circles?
I have. I started over because I thought I was doing it wrong. So let me get back. So I've got 2 circles. So let me get to the next one here.
Okay.
I think I've got it now.
Awesome. So intersection points, right? We are creating circles. We're going around that center circle, and each time we create a new intersection point, and that's where you put the compass next. It's really like you're creating the steps around the circle, and you are being shown, like, we don't have to add or calculate or anything. You're just drawing circles, and you're giving yourself the next intersection point, right? So once you've got that 4th circle, Janice, which circles were you on? Not to single you out, but just to make sure
I have 4.
4. Great. So then, right, this compass point up on the top now is where the intersection up on the top is where the compass goes, and you're going to make your 5th circle right up there on the top, right? And if you've gotten to the full shape already, I want to encourage you to take a nice deep breath with it and notice, see what your experience is. Pause with a breath. When you've got this top circle complete, you can see you've got one more intersection that you've just created. It's the same process. You make a circle, it gives you the next intersection point. That's where your compass goes. And you keep creating circles. The last one, this point that is on the screen, you'll see you create a divot, one last final divot. And that's where your compass goes to complete the circle. So it's a similar pattern. We're going around creating circles, creating shapes, creating, I just skipped right past middle, see, yeah. Creating intersection points and showing us where to go next. Right, there's that. How's everybody doing? Everybody get it? All right, thumbs up, okay. All right, Joni, you got your arms crossed in front of you. How's it going? I can't tell. What's your experience?
Experience is good. I'm just waiting for. I'm good. I got ahead.
Okay, got ahead. So part of why this works is because we're not just painting lilies, right? This geometry is a potent tool of meditation, potent tool of transformation. If you get to the shape ahead of time, if you're just like cruising through it and you got a seed, Leanne's already got one, Zabby's already got one, but they know that you can use that as a pause point. That is an opportunity to be with the geometry now that you have all the information, and you can bring into your awareness that you are drawing yourself, that part of you is coming online with this shape. And every breath that you take to deepen into your body is going to help with that integration of you connecting with you. So you can wait for the next steps, but I want to encourage everyone to breathe once you get to the shape. So, all right, 20 minutes in. So how's everybody else doing? I want to how's the process? Everybody got it? Easy peasy? Got to practice? Where are you at?
Honestly, I need a bit of help with the beginning because I got lost at the very beginning.
Yeah. Okay. So did you get the first circle?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I just didn't really understand where you place the. I'm a visual learner. It's very hard for me to not I'm monkey see, monkey do. So it's very hard for me to understand.
Yeah. Well, let's make sure we get it. I want to do it right so that you get the circle. And I don't have an overhead camera, but we'll get it together. So did you get the first circle?
I mean, is it just done randomly with using that centered point that we drew?
If you are on the landscape, right? If your pad of paper is wide in front of you, yeah, it's the center point, the 5.5 inches, using the ruler as if it was the 12 o'clock axis, right? 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, right? So your ruler is going up and down, and you're just choosing 5.5 and 5.5 inches in to find the center. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I'm only sticking with trying to measure to the center of the point because I used to be an eyeballer. I would just drop the compass down on what I thought was the center of the page and go for the first circle. And you can do that. I only measure it to try and help us not go off the page. You know, it's not a precise science at all. You know, you could close your compass a little bit to give you some wiggle room, but does it work for you to just put the compass at an eyeball in the center and then make the first circle?
I mean, I just don't know what you do after that.
Oh, second circle. Yep. So second circle goes at the very bottom. Sorry for the scrolling. The second circle. Sorry. You're going to put your compass point. Can you mirror the red where the red point is and put your compass point at the bottom of the circle? So the red point is basically showing you where you would put the compass point. Does that work for you to explain it?
Okay, yes.
Right. So there, you got it. Yeah. So second circle goes down at the bottom. You've got 2 circles stacked on each other.
Okay.
All right. And then on the left-hand side is an intersection. You see that one? Yep. That's where your compass goes next. Yeah. So then you've got the third circle. Right?
Okay.
Okay,
You
and
continue.
you got it. Yeah, it's the same thing. Point goes. Okay, great. Just stop me
Yeah.
anytime because it's always doable to walk through it. But if I speed past you and we don't know, you gotta let me know.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah. So I'll keep putting them up. It seems like you've got the pattern, right? So then fourth circle, yeah, I can see you going. You got it. Compass points that go. Looks like it's yeah. Okay, you're getting the intersection. Do you feel like you've got it, or you want me to keep scrolling through? You got it. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let me know when you've got all seven, but all six. Can we do a fun thing? Everybody just hold it up and let me see your seeds together. July, just don't rush yourself. Let me get it. I know some of them. All right, there it is. They're happening. All right, what do you guys think? This is my major accomplishment on a lot of levels. Beautiful, Greta. How does it feel? All right, July, that was so fast. Oh my God. It's just like, okay, I got it now. What Ben? All right, you got it. So you used a smaller width, but you've got the 8.5 by 11, but it works. It works. All right. I was really sure we lost you with kiddos in the bed. That's really hard to do what you're doing. So I'm impressed. Does anybody want to jump in with an observation? Do you notice anything? What's your experience? Couple.
Yeah. So the question I had for you before that was like, oh, I'm asking it too soon, was because I was doing the flower or the seed totally like right, but totally wrong. I had forgotten to go up around it. I was doing, middle circle, then I did the top circle, then I did the bottom circle, then I filled in the sides, and it was all coming out so wonky. I was like, why is this coming out wonky? And now doing it the way that you have re-illustrated for me and illustrated for everyone else, or some people for the first time, it comes out so even if you do it the way that you're showing us. And it's like I had it so wrong for like a year since last class.
Well, it's tricky. It's tricky. I show you the clockwise consistent way for a bunch of reasons. You're speaking to one of them. It's really tempting to jump around. It really is. But we're going to get into the flower, which builds on the seed. And it's very easy to get lost if you don't do it sequentially. So there's reasons why I walk us through the clockwise as Zabby is speaking to. And then Zabby, you're reminding me also to give the point of you can lift the compass up, eyeball it, put the compass point down, do your circle, lift it up, eyeball it, put the compass point. You will have far more precision. I really do wish I had my have it. So here's your grip. If you lift the compass up, you take one side, you change your grip, you consciously put the point down, and then you come back and make the next circle. And then you change your grip, you pay attention more detailed to the point. You're going to get a lot more precision versus just the like zoop, zoop, zoop. Just for future reference, if you're getting frustrated because your petals aren't lining up or you have triangles somewhere, try a new technique with that. All right, because the odds that you've gotten this precisely accurate are very low. This is not graphic design. So more than not, this is perfection, imperfectly perfect, right? This is part of the surrender, part of the learning. Any other observations, thoughts, awareness, anything arising? What do you think? Do you like it? Is it boring? Where's everybody at?
I just so when I started on the practice page before we got into this one, I had already gone completely bonkers and my circles were, I was exploding and I want to do it now. I'm trying to slow down and be patient. I want to keep drawing.
All right, so it's official. Joni's work will be to slow down for the course. You just outed yourself. All right, wonderful. But you got the seed, so you got the final, and you are illustrating beautifully. Our patterns will arise immediately. So setting an intention for the class, it is the invitation of, do you want to use the opportunity of the drawing to promote a balance, right? So if you're impatient, bringing on patience. If you're hypercritical, bringing in some kindness and compassion, right? So starting off the course with naming a place where you would like to come into more balance that will inevitably arise while we're drawing. So bringing that awareness into the process. It's many, many levels. Thank you for pioneering that, Joni. I appreciate that. Joy, you were about to jump in as well.
Yeah, I'm just struck with how balanced it is. It's a lovely kind of feeling. It's not screwed up like usually I do something. So that's neat. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it was almost a solid positive reflection. Then we had to throw in the screw up. So, but I get it. And it is that balance, right? It's unique in this what's the word? The symmetry, right? It's literally, after you draw, we'll see in a couple classes, you access an altered state of consciousness, because we literally are aligning the right and left hemispheres of the brain, and we are typically so fragmented and out of alignment that it creates a weird buzzy feeling after you draw for a little while. So you're harmonizing aspects of yourself that are out of harmony. We're turning on our DNA. We are aligning the hemispheres of our brain. We are bringing the masculine and feminine into balance within ourselves. We all are on that spectrum to some extent or than other, but we all have masculine and feminine. So, kind of moving away from that binary place and going towards unification, right? Bringing ourselves together. Does anybody else have an observation before we get into the next geometry? I so appreciate you guys jumping in. Yeah, July.
Yeah, so the first one I was totally lost. It's just very interesting to look at the one that's all perfect.
Yeah.
And then look at this one. And I just find that's such a perfect metaphor for, the human mind. Often, you feel like this, but then you can be in the states where you feel like that. So it's just very cool to see that visually.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll go on to do our electromagnetic fields. I'm going to give you like 3 more slides just to give you context for what we're doing, but we're going to build on the geometry that you just drew. We're going to use the seed of life that you just drew for the next shape. So what I mean when I say electromagnetics, I'm going to go back to that PowerPoint that I had. Oh, shoot, not that one. Oh, did I close it out? I do this all the time. Hang on a second. I did. I closed it out. Sorry about this. I did this the other day too. We are looking at 2-dimensional shapes, but really they are 3-dimensional geometries. And in truth, they are multidimensional geometries. They are blipping in and out of space-time. We have, did I do that right? We have the ability to conceptualize of what's right here, right now. But there's so much more going on. Here we go. Here's the seed. Start from that one. All right, close enough to count. So we've just drawn the seed, right? What we're going to do now is we're going to double it up. Don't worry, I'll walk you right through it. It's step by step. If you double it up, this is what we're going to get. If you take that center circle out, you get this shape. Right, it's a really fun shape. We were talking about mandalas earlier. You got the blueprints for mandalas for yourself from now on. This is the 2-dimensional version of this. This is the 3-dimensional version of what we're going to draw now. And what that is our electromagnetic field. That is the geometry of our toroidal field, right? So the more you bring into the awareness that we are drawing our electromagnetics, this is our aura. This is the way to connect with the invisible again, right? We're doing this visible 2D geometry, but our subconscious mind knows that we are drawing a 3-dimensional version of our energy body, and everything has this electromagnetic field. It's moving, it's constantly, exchanging intelligence and information with the universe. It's how we interpret reality, is through our electromagnetics. The galaxy has one, our heart, our mind, apples, fruits, everything sentient has an electromagnetic field. So, and there's a crop circle with one in it too. So we are literally, with the shape that we're going to draw, we are creating a representation of us as energy beings. And we'll come back to that again and again when we draw. So here's the next step. We're coming into the ruler a little bit. We've been completely circular, and Joni, don't jump ahead. We don't want lines. All right. So we're going to use our ruler. All right. What we're going to measure, we're going to just line up the divots, right? So put the top of the ruler at one of the divots. I'm talking about these outer points, the divots between the circles. Line up your ruler on the top with a divot and then bring it across the shape to the divot that's across from it. We're not drawing the lines. There are no lines here. We're going to use the point where the ruler intersects with the inner circle, right? Not the divots on the outside. You're going to use the ruler to mirror exactly what I've done here. You're going to make points on the inside circle where the ruler is intersecting with it, right? And you're going to do that 3 different angles. Right, so the ruler is going in between the petals on the inside, right? And it's matching up with the divots on the outside. So there's going to be 3 different angles or axes, right, as we call them. The horizontal, so you're going to use the petals on the horizontal flat line to create those center points on the inside circle. We don't need points on the outer divots. We want points where the ruler crosses over the inner circle. Tendency is to repeat the divots on the outside. We want the inside circle as the focus. And then you're going to have a right diagonal and a left diagonal and a horizontal. So you're basically creating 6 points on the inner circle. Right. All right. You got that? All 6 points. Like we've got it. Everybody got all 6? Let me see. We've just given ourselves a cheat. I'm just looking at people. It's a very voyeuristic situation that I sit here and watch all of you with your heads down. But still working on it. Yeah. We are giving ourselves the next compass points. That's what we're doing. So once again, we've used the geometry to show us where to go. How about that? Thumbs up. Does everybody have those 6 points? Okay. Susan, you've had a moment there. Did I take it away too fast?
No, I got 6. We're good.
Okay, everybody got their 6. All right, here we go. All we're doing is putting our compass down. Just put your compass down on any one of those points. You can start whichever one and just follow all the way around from compass point to compass point, and you will get this shape. Try and let go of precision. It might be close, but it's also not going to be. This is your first shape. This is literally the second shape you've drawn. So it will be nicely proportioned, but probably not precise. So you can just follow around. What you'll start to see is that the circle that you make overlaps with the next compass point that you make. Right? We just did a little cheat so that you don't have to rely on the circles so much, but you've got compass points. All right, so far so good. Just enjoying Ben's screensaver. Right, looks good. Don't forget to take a breath as you're drawing your circles. We can really tighten up around the technique. Point to point. Leanne, how's it feel to do one again? Yeah, happy dance. Okay. Very sincere effort, y'all. I'm just feeling ya. I miss being in class in person, but at least we can still do it. You know, that's the good news. Like some technique is working. All right. Doing a little bit stand back and review. I see it going on. All right, Joni, what do you think?
I very much like it. I'm less excited about the minor imperfection, but I mean the first 6 and 7 circles were so perfect. They aligned so brilliantly, but I know where the imperfection comes from, and I'm okay with it. I mean, it's from exactly where I laid my ruler down and touched the line to make the dot. So, but it looks lovely. I like it.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Another invitation, you're inspiring so much. most of us, I don't think I've ever met anyone without a critical voice. Yeah. And so that will be showing up live and in person. And we're not ever really going to get rid of it. It's a program. It's a deep, deep program. So the invitation would be, if you're going to notice the imperfection, just balance it with an affirming statement of something that you like. Just, imprinting the positive as well alongside of it, so we can at least build that voice up. So you'll see me do that again and again, because without fail, I'll say, let me see, and everybody will go like, here's where it's wrong.
And I just found an imperfection that was my own doing. I forgot a circle. There it is.
All right, that's what happens too. Did everybody get the 12? Anyway, so we've got 20 more minutes. We've got one more shape. So what I want to do is, let's just do a group hold up so that we can see them, and try and do it to your side so you can hold yours up, but you can look at everybody else's. So we've all got them. It looks great. Everybody got them. Brilliant. All right. All right. Thoughts, observations before we go into the last shape. What do you guys think? What do you feel? You feeling good? You annoyed? Where you at? I'm going to just call on people randomly, which is terrifying, but I just want to hear from everybody. Janice, how's it going?
Going good. I'm a real perfectionist, so I'm sitting here going, yeah, I could have done that a little differently, and next time but for the first time, I'm happy with it.
All right, fabulous. It's pretty amazing what you've just done in a 20-minute time period, right? We started with the oh God, we're using a compass. It's gonna, and you made a seed of life, just beautiful structure. And now you've done this fairly incredible looking mandala, which is your electromagnetic field, right? One of the things I have shifted is encouraging is to get both a block eraser and a small fine tip one, because the fine tip, you can erase that inner circle and it gets really super pretty, right? So that's a really fun thing to do. Greta, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's fun to draw.
Fun to draw. All right. And you've done this one before in the other class?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the basic building blocks for sure. All right. Anybody else we'll just hear from one more person, and then I just want to hear from everybody, but anybody else want to jump in with your thoughts?
I just love the process. I have a nice groove. I love my circles. I'm just having a lot of fun.
So great. That's so great, because the thing is you can draw the shape so many times again and again, right? It's going to be a different shape every time, because you're showing up in a different consciousness, and it's going to reflect the space you're in. So, if you're having a great time and you're loving it, it's going to be bringing that back to you, right? And I love it, Leanne. So great. Yeah. Anybody else? One more. How's anybody? One other thought. Anybody can.
I just see how important it is to be accurate, because I was sloppier the second time around, and it's losing its perfection, so to speak. So
the more complex it gets, it builds on any of the out there. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna do one more shape that is built on this one. So if there's imprecisions, there will be more. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna use this shape as our template, and we're going to, in the divots of your sunflower, right? In the divots, which I believe I don't have marked there, sorry. Okay, I have to find that. Each divot, you have 12 divot points, right? You're going to take your compass and puncture through this paper to make holes on the next piece of paper under it. So you're going to create 12 holes. You're giving yourself a template on the next page that's basically a clock with 12 points. So go ahead and use the sunflower that you just made. You've got 12 divots on the outside. At each intersection, you're going to put the compass. So right here, here's one divot. Here's another divot, right? At each divot, you're going to take your compass and puncture through the geometry onto the next page, so that you're going to have 12 points on the following page, right? On the page underneath that. And once you get those 12 points, you want to find them and darken them in so that on the next page underneath, you're going to have basically a clock, although it'll be tilted slight to the right. So we're going for 12 points. You're gonna want this on the page that you're working on now, right? So you're creating 12 function holes, and then once you've made them onto the page underneath, go ahead and darken them in so that they're very obvious, because they're going to be our points for points of reference for the next shape. We are complete with the compass and the circles for the day. That was the more divine feminine, the circular, the round, and we're going to go over to the lines. We're going ruler all the way now, and it's always interesting to see which of the different tools you are drawn towards. So Ben, I love that you're at the kid table. That's awesome. So yeah, rocket. So 12 points underneath, darkened in, so that you have, you know, the face of a clock-ish. However, your circle will be oriented. So 12 o'clock is straight up. Yours going to start at like 12:30. You're going to be a little bit to the right because that's how our sunflowers were oriented. All right. So it looks like we're still working on it. So puncturing through and giving yourself 12 points on the next paper. We're going to start. We're going to do a dodecagon. Very fabulous word for a 12-pointed star. And I do it this way so that you can see the relationship between both the seed, the 6-fold, and the sunflower, the toroidal field, the 12-fold, and now a 12-pointed star, right? They're just directly their counterparts, right? So you'll see the connection. All right, so we've got 12 points, just making sure we've all got that. To the next one. Of course, there's other ways to get into this, but I like to highlight the partnership of the two shapes, you know, the complementary nature. All right, solid. We got Susan up. Janice, how you doing? You got it? Sometimes you got to really puncture through. Greta, are you off mute for anything, or did you just happen to be off mute?
No, I just went through more than one sheet, but that's okay.
Okay, you'll be able to do another star, and you might want to because they're so cool. Okay, anybody need another minute? I think we've got all 12 points. Nope. Janice, you need another minute? Okay, no, we're good. Thumbs up. Okay, so forgive me because my orientation is at 12 o'clock. Yours will be at 12:30. All right, so it's not going to look exactly alike. What we're going to do now is you're going to start at the top point, and you're going to connect every dot. So you just start clockwise again. Zabby, here we go. It is important. Top point to the one to the right. Top point down across to the next one. Top point, just lining your ruler up with each point and drawing a nice connecting line. Going around, you'll find this pattern. Zabby, it is so true, and it is such a good point because I offer the technique clockwise and consistent to help with the fundamentals. But once you get comfy with this, you can jump around and make it really far out and unique, you know. But it's like if you're learning the chords on the piano, right? You want to get the fundamental structure, and then you can freestyle. So we're starting from one point, just going back and forth and connecting all the different dots, right? You're going to get this pattern. And for me personally, and you can notice within yourself what's true for you, I am so satisfied with the lines. I love knowing where I'm starting and knowing where I'm stopping. It's just really nice to have a clear direction versus the, you know, putting the compass. Am I putting it right? I've got a circle, but am I on the right spot? And if so, is it precise? This one, probably not going to be precise, but you know the directions once you've got it, right? So we've got 12, right? We've got 12 lines. And as soon as I see heads coming up, I will go ahead with the next step. Keep this up here. this is a shape, we'll give it a couple minutes, but you might only get a portion of the way before we finish the class. But once you get the idea, you will be able to complete it on your own. And I always love seeing the plan, seeing how they turn out. So let me see, or do we all have that basic? We got that one? Okay. What we're going to do is just repeat that pattern all the way around so that it's going to look like this. All right. So just use each point as a starting point for that exact same process. You have one origin point, you go to the point to the right of it, back and across to the next one down. You're simply repeating that pattern. You're just starting from a different origin point. Does that make sense? Do I have everybody? That's okay. Heads are nodding. Does anybody else need note? Looks like we're going for it. All right. So this is a 12-pointed star. This is a dodecagon. You can do all sorts of things to highlight the different shapes, right? I will leave it up while we're all drawing it. But in the process of going around clockwise, you get the shape. If you wanted to jump around, you could go from every other point. That gets really like next level. And I don't know what I did here to make it look precise, but it doesn't usually look like this. I do this one every week at a recovery center, honestly, and it never looks like this. So I'm not quite sure why I have any sense of precision here, but I do. But please be kind with yourself if you do not, because that is the likelihood, is not having a direct center there. And if you all want to pause for 1 second and just look up at the screen, I want to show you what someone did. No pressure, but we did this one, and she was like, I got to do more. And so she just expanded it out many different iterations, and it's all based on that original one. But this is just to show you like some of the fun that you can have with this one. Even though we're starting with the original 12.
How are they determining the points to draw in that larger example?
They're extending out. So I think she just picked an iteration, right? She just probably measured an inch out. And then you can see she put the compass at the center. She opened it up, made another circle, right? That's one way to do it. And then just extended all of the lines. You can see this one matches up on that, I would say axis, but yeah, so she started by using the outer points, right? I can see it in my brain. I don't know how to explain it. I can send you this slide, but I also want to just let everybody draw. Sorry, I sort of took us away. But there's she just extended it out, and she just kind of figured it out. So I'm not sure. I can see in the iterations how she did it, but I'm not sure there's a precise I'm not sure there's a precision in her measurements. I think she was just kind of making it up as she went along, but I can see some of the alignments. That makes sense. All right, I'll leave this up one more second, and then we will. So we got a couple more minutes. So what I want to do is I want to come out of the screen share, and everybody will probably get about halfway through by the time we hit the top of the hour. So if you would like to keep drawing, that's fabulous. I really understand that and want to encourage that. But if you're up for pausing and connecting or just sharing insight or reflection, at some point, I would just love to hear a closing word or two from everybody, knowing that you can, we won't complete it in 7 minutes, so you can set it aside for a second and go finish it up. So torn. I want everybody to just keep drawing, but what we're gonna do is we will pause and just do a little closing. What's that? Oh, cool, Greta. So you jumped around. Isn't that cool? Come off of mute and tell us about it. I love it. Are you talking? Will you Greta, will you tell us about that as your closing thought, like what your process was there? But you're still muted, so I can't hear you.
You know, I do a lot of things that are pretty, well, in work where it was pretty sequential, and I kind of like, you know, the jumping around, and I just like watching it grow. So, but it's also at the end, you have to be like, okay, where am I missing something? And there's that kind of piece too. So it works.
Cool. What's it feel like getting back into the game after you took that course? You feeling good about it all coming alive again?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I liked it, and the slides had some familiarity to it, and it's just good. You know, it'll be good.
Cool. So. Well, what I also love is like wherever you are in this process, if you're brand new, just, you know, we're starting out on a level playing field, so to speak. But if you've got some under your belt, you can just freestyle already and go for it. So it's gonna match you where you're at, which looks spectacular to keep going that way. Awesome.
It's fun to do. You know, it's just
that's the idea. All right, Gabby, you're off mute. Do you have a share, or were you?
Yeah, I definitely do. I like yelled something out loud to myself just now. Forgot I was on mute or off mute. It's like having the correct size notebook or sketchbook that you said last year I had like slightly smaller, so I had to do everything smaller. And it was just getting kind of confusing with it being small, having it so large like this. It didn't come out this like even last year. And I think this is great.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you're having a good time with it. That's great.
Yeah, I am.
Awesome. I know at one point I was like, can everybody get an 11 by 18? And I
was like, no way.
No, I transposed 11 by 8 and 14 by 11. And so I'm sorry for that. But 11 by 14, and I'm glad you got there. And it's a satisfying size, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. And it'll be fun going back to last year's sketchbook and seeing and comparing. Yeah, it's cool. I forgot about this shape.
There's so many. I know it's one of the understated rock stars.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Let's just do a little round so we hear from everybody. Just a tiny check-in. Where's everybody at? How you doing? How's it feel? Right. Joy, you're off mute, so I'm gonna call you. How you doing? How does it feel?
Confusing. I mean, if you lose the place of where you are, then it really, I think I'm doing it okay, but I need to really concentrate because I get on the wrong point and then I don't know how to say that, but it's confusing.
Yep. It's tricky to pause and talk with everyone, pause the shape and then go back and finish afterwards. But I do like to just have a little goodbye with everybody. Last trick to make sure you've got all the lines is that from each point we'll have 11 lines. And that means that you've got all of them. Right?
Okay.
And it's very unusual to get all of them right off the bat. There's usually one or two that's missing. And as you cross the halfway mark, you start seeing that lines are already there. Right. So it's a whole kerfuffle that way that there's already a line. So just stay with it. Count 11 lines from every point and you'll find your way. Plus I'll send you the PDF so you can go back and check it.
Okay. I'm really glad you're recording this. I'm going to need to revisit this a bunch, I think, because it's really hard to keep track of where you are as you move around. The other thing is I got really thick paper, which is not a good idea because then you poke through it. It doesn't.
Well, that's the only time we're going to poke through. So it's, it's okay to have the thick paper. But again, there's delicious parts of doing it together, but then when you're in the privacy of your own pace and space, it gets much easier to track. And we're just trying to do a lot of things at once. So I'm excited to see them, though. I'm excited to see when it's complete. All set on that?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, Janice, you're off mute. How are you doing?
There.
There.
I could see where this could become very addicting.
Yeah, so it's
Great. I'm having a great time. This is fun.
oh good. All right. Yeah, the dodecagon, it's just that rhythmical back and forth once you get the sense of it. It is very soothing. And when you bring in breath work to it, where if you draw a line and you take a breath, worlds can open. I mean, it's just really, we're starting at the beginning here with what these shapes can do. Highly addictive. You're right. Yep. Caution. Great. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going around. July, how's it going?
Good. I was just finding the last missing spots, like you mentioned. So that was kind of interesting. I hadn't noticed them. Yeah, I like the process.
Well, all right, great. And one thing to notice, like, were you drawn towards the circles or the lines? Was one of the more appealing,
Yeah. Well, when I was little, I used to draw things like this just for fun. So that was kind of interesting to me. But I'm definitely more drawn to the circles than lines.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Zabby, good to see you. We're at the top of the hour. Just 2 more minutes. You have to go. I get it. But let's just hear. It's lovely to see you again. We'll see you next week. Ben, Susan, how you doing? Ben, how's it going?
It's going good. I think I'm drawing a little bit more to the lines, and I'm looking forward to practicing some of this again over the coming week.
Cool. And it's your kiddos are not too young for it. They can join you right in. This is really yeah.
I almost did it.
Almost. All right. Good job. Okay. Wait. All right. Susan, how you doing? I think we're rounding up with you.
Okay, I mean, I can see that I can be a lot more exact with this because I got stuff going all over the place, but we'll try again.
Okay, that's the idea. Please do give yourself some time between now and next week to do one or both or all of as much as you can. And if you don't have time because you're a parent, don't worry about it. I look forward to seeing you all next week. I will send out emails from every angle that I can. Send something back to me so that I know that we're in the loop together, and then I'll make sure to get the video recording and the PDFs to you so you can keep drawing.
So there will be a PDF of the initial drawing that we did and showing the points that we can do. So yes, perfect.
Yep, the sequence for the
seed great.
And the sunflower, and then the 12-pointed star. Yep, awesome.
Good. Okay. Helpful.
Awesome. Last thoughts or questions before we finish up? All good? Did I hear from everybody? I think.
Thank you. I feel much less stressed out.
Oh, good. Was that Joni that said that, or Jeff?
That's Joni. I went straight from this computer right here to this computer right here to from work to this, so it was helpful.
Yeah, you have a softer now. It's an intense transition, and it usually does. It's such a great stress management tool because you're so focused on the technique. You're not thinking about anything else. So you're literally giving your brain a rest, the neural processing that you're doing with all of this, the new neural pathways that you're creating, great. Don't go and operate heavy machinery right now. Just when we finish up, take a nice deep breath, integrate it, look at your geometry, finish the drawing, whatever you want to do. Just give yourself a big round of applause for having done this and for having signed up for the class. It's so wonderful to be here with you all, and I look forward to next week.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a great week. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you.